It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 199 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton, but most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too. Don't forget. We brew coffee from a little coffee roaster in Houston, Texas. Bright and early coffee. Holly Ann, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
My favorite breakfast blend.
In the afternoon.
It's actually evening right now. If you guys don't do it.
It is in the evening and we're
blend.
Drinking breakfast blend, but it's so good. You got to check it out. Bright and early coffee. We have a code on all of their bagged coffee for 15% off. It's CWTCL 15. It's a great deal. Where should everybody go to check out this amazing coffee?
brighthandearlycoffee.com.
Or if you use K-Cups, go to Amazon. They're great. Are you ready to sip some of this delicious breakfast blend coffee in the evening and chat?
I am. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats, plus orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today. Okie dokie. Artichoke. It is in the evening. We're recording. We're getting a little bit later start than we wanted to. But hey.
That's because you talk too much.
I talk a lot, but that's my job, man. It's my job.
Your job is to talk into the mic.
The mic of the phone to everyone around.
No, I meant the studio mic, but okay. Clearly we're gonna diverge on this topic.
Right now, I'm going to give you the thumbs up.
I'll give it right back to you, babe. Thumbs up to you, too.
Thumbs up to you.
So here we are mid-September.
We are.
We had a little bit of a warm spell again.
Come on. I need the fall. I need it to be fall.
I know. Crisp and cool is what I want. It's been nice and cool in the mornings.
Yeah, it has been.
Delightful, and the chickens love it.
They do, especially my little man.
Giorgio Armani, unfortunately, is recovering from its soft tissue injury.
Because he's a horn dog.
Right? We have so over at the Kosmala household, we have completely integrated this year's babies with the flock. And last Friday night was the first night that Giorgio got to sleep out in the coop with all the big girls.
He must have tried something, and they were just putting him in his place.
Well, I'll tell you what. I let him out the next morning, and there are 16 hens. I mean, it's a huge coop and run.
Yeah, it's
16 hens. He took one look at that, and he lost his rooster mind.
Now he's limping.
He was chasing every girl in there. And I don't know if he tripped. I don't know if somebody put him in his place. I don't know what happened, but I know that the testosterone was too much for him.
Now, Dr. Rebecca has said it's just a soft tissue injury.
Yes.
Nothing to worry about. So he's on some pain medicine. So he'll be all right. But I've been calling him the horn dog.
Well, I mean, you should have seen him, Chris. He didn't know which direction to go. He was like, girls, girls, girls. He was losing his little brain.
Meanwhile, over here at the DeCarlo house, little man is learning to eat strawberries.
Oh, my God. Just ridiculous.
Then I have to wash him off because he gets the strawberries all over his mouth.
Yeah, his comb. His enormous, beautiful crest. Yes. Little man is slightly spoiled. Are you surprised?
Little man. He is so cute. My funny story about little man, my neighbors have a cat that loves chickens. His name is Eggy. No relation there at all.
Right, I know.
But he loves to just come over and sit and watch the chickens. He's never in years done anything but watch them and be with them, basically. Maybe little man could sense that, but he was staring at little man, and little man not a peep out of his beak. No crow.
Girls are okay on their own. He's a lover, not a fighter.
He just looked back at me like, do you got those strawberries for me?
Right? Hey, lady.
Hey,
baby.
lady.
Hey, girl, I'll see you with those strawberries.
I'll take those strawberries. You're hand feeding me there.
I'm going to trade. I'm going to take little man and bring you Giorgio Armani. Giorgio's going to have a coronary. He's going to be like, so many girls.
And you're going to be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my little guy. He is a mama's boy.
Roosters are the sweetest.
I hope he stays that way. I keep saying it, but I just hope he does.
It's fruitless to say that. It's all about the
Hormones, man.
all about the hormones. Yeah,
It's all about those there hormones.
this free testosterone.
Oh, keep it at a minimum, man. Right now, you don't want any, but I saw you doing the wing dance the other day.
I saw him wing dancing too.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, well,
Keep that wing up high.
it is what it is.
Don't drop it. Don't drop it low.
So John-
Okay, on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcast and leave us a written review. It does amazing things for the growth of our show. While you're there, hit that subscribe button for many reasons, one of which is they count them, and two, you never want to miss an episode when it drops, and it's automatically on your page then.
If you're looking for other ways to help support the show, you can tell some chicken-loving friends about us. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can check out our Etsy shop. We've got t-shirts, we've got tank tops, we've got logo mugs. You can become a patron of the show. Patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. An enormous thank you to all of our patrons. We love you. And the other way you can help support the show is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay!
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera US.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like subscription boxes?
Does it have anything to do with chickens?
Of course.
Then yeah. Let me take a minute to tell you about the Chicken Love Box. If you love goodies for your chickens and you need to go to chickenlove.com.
I love the mega box. Tons of useful products for my flock and a chicken tea for me.
You can't go wrong with a chicken tea. They are so cute and so soft.
In the April box, I absolutely love the chick leg bands and the organic soap set with hen decoration.
I am loving the Chicken Spirit long sleeve tee, and those chick vitamins, they could save a chick for sure.
Boxes start at $39 a month. They ship immediately after your order, and shipping is always free.
Such a great deal. Don't wait. Get off the nest and click already. Use the code CWTCL50 for 50% off your first box of a 3-month subscription or more. That's chickenlove.com. That's chickenluv.com. Get your subscription today.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. Wait, what do I see in the sky? I don't know, but it's gold. It's not Haley's, but it's a Golden Comet. It's time for the Breed Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo, that was a good one.
I told you I have to get a little more creative.
Yeah, that's... Ooh.
So this week's Breed Spotlight is...
It's not Haley's Comet. It's the Golden Comet.
I mean, I figured it's a chicken that deserves...
Chicken that
a great
deserves...
intro.
Yes, that was... I don't even know what to call that. Like an operetta for the Golden Comet.
Oh, it's golden. It's not Haley's.
Well, the Golden Comet is a relatively common hybrid layer type of chicken.
That's highly popular.
Extraordinarily popular. So when we say a hybrid, we mean a specific mix of chickens that will not breed true in successive generations. In order to get a hybrid, you must hatch it from specific parent stock. In the case of the Golden Comet, the parents are a White Plymouth Rock hen and a New Hampshire rooster.
Now, you know that White Plymouth Rock is really popular.
Yeah.
It's a really popular bird.
Yeah. The resulting offspring is the Golden Comet, and they are known for their excellent egg-laying ability and their friendly nature.
I mean, the New Hampshire's known for their really good egg laying. I mean, they come from Rhode Island Red.
Yes.
So no doubt that they're going to be really good egg layers.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, sometimes you'll see a web page or another publication saying that golden comets and cinnamon queens are the same bird. In reality, the golden comets are one of the earliest forms of hybrid type hens known as red sex-lings.
Right.
And that group includes, there's so many of them.
There's a lot.
Isa Brown, cinnamon queen, golden buff,
The red star.
the gold sex-link, etc. We could go on and on.
Yeah, there's a ton, and I'm talking a ton.
And the phrase sex-link, that's thrown around a lot. Sex-link means that the bird's color is genetically linked to his or her sex because the parent stock were two different breeds, just like we were talking about the golden comet. Now, auto-sexing, in contrast, is only used for birds where the parents are the same breed.
So heritage breed.
Right, heritage breed or standard breed birds, where you're breeding a Welsummer to a Welsummer and getting a Welsummer. The story of the Golden Comet begins in early 1900s in Walpole, New Hampshire. There was a produce farmer there named Ira Hubbard, and Ira had 3 sons, Oliver, Austin, and Leslie, and all of the boys attended the University of New Hampshire. In 1914, the family started breeding poultry, and they were selling chicks and hatching eggs to other families and farms. Oliver, the oldest of the sons, was encouraged by his professor, Red Richardson, to try genetic selection in his breeding program. Initially, the Hubbards were working towards disease resistance.
Right.
Super important then. And the family's reputation for top quality chicks and eggs began to grow. In 1921, Hubbard Breeders was founded. Now, the Hubbard Company is known for developing 2 chickens. The first is the heritage breed New Hampshire chicken.
Exactly.
And we spotlight them way back in episode 36. The second is the hybrid Golden Comet. Now, the New Hampshire was intended to be a dual-purpose bird, while the Comet was intended to be an extremely efficient and prolific layer.
Which kills me because one bird took off in popularity, right? And the other bird, not so much until we went to Ohio.
And saw the New Hampshire bantams.
Exactly.
Well, I think the answer here is like, it's difficult. You can do a dual-purpose bird, you know, if you want to do your own meat birds on your homestead, if you want to sell meat birds. But most people who want to keep chickens, it's for laying eggs.
And the point of the New Hampshire was to get the bigger the bird.
That's right.
For meat.
Right.
So
beef up a Rhode Island Red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, Hubbard has gone through many iterations over time, and in 2003, they switched over to breeding broilers only.
Not surprised.
No. At some point over the years, Hubbard either stopped breeding the Golden Comets, or they sold the rights to someone else, or maybe they never trademarked the name.
Okay.
Because several of the commercial hatcheries sell chicks that they call Golden Comets.
A lot.
And essentially, if they're red sex-links, I guess that's okay.
I mean, you go to the mill.
Right.
For us, our local feed store, they have Golden Comets every year.
They do.
So,
now, the Comets, like we just said, can have different mixes of parent stock breeds than the original Comets. For example, Cackle Hatchery sells Golden Comets that are a result of crossing a cherry Ager, which I'd never heard of before.
I've never heard of that.
Crossing a cherry Ager rooster and a Rhode Island white hen. Now, the cherry Ager, you know, I had to look that up.
I was going to ask you, did you look it up to see what exactly it is?
The cherry Ager is supposed to be a Rhode Island red rooster crossed with a New Hampshire hen.
Oh, okay. The opposite, basically.
There's a really, it's really close together in there.
I mean, but they get you with that name, cherry
Ager. I know you're like, wait.
That sounds cool.
They can't lay a cherry-colored egg.
Cherry-colored egg.
Can't happen.
Man. Okay. So let's go into, we know the history. It's actually a hybrid that has a history, which is one of the things we like.
Well, that's probably because they're so old.
Right.
I mean, there are some records about the Hubbards.
There are a lot of hybrids out there that are genetically made in a company.
Right.
This is not one.
Right.
And this is why we like the story behind it.
Comets are really first-generation hybrids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like as old of a hybrid as you can get.
Right.
Okay, so let's go into what they look like. They're light to medium-bodied birds. Roosters average at about 6 pounds, while the hens are averaging around 4 pounds. So roosters are generally white with some red feathers, especially around their shoulders. And hens are light brown, the reddish color, and often have some white feathers present, okay? So they have yellow legs and a single red comb and wattles. Now, they're a cuddly chicken. So they're known to lay 300 plus eggs per year. That's a lot. Now, like we've told you many times before in the past, they will slow down significantly after the first 2 or 3 years of laying. And sometimes after the first year, they'll slow down immensely. they don't usually go broody.
What color egg do they lay?
They lay brown egg.
Okay.
So,
Which makes sense given their parent stock, right?
oh, yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. They all lay it. So they are friendly and gentle. Like I said, they're a cuddly bird.
Yeah, they're great for families in most respects. We do know from lots of stories and anecdotes and articles over the years that hybrid breeds like the Comets tend to have a shorter lifespan than the average pet chicken.
We always say it, but it is true.
So we're talking about 4 to 5 years instead of 7 to 8 years or more.
Right. So just be aware of it.
They're also subject to a number of reproductive problems such as tumors, peritonitis, and prolapse. These things come along with production laying.
And we say this because basically it's not in their breed. They're bred to do these things.
Right.
So it's not a normal thing for them to do.
Right.
So when you have that, the chances of having reproductive problems are much higher.
Right. So we suggest don't light your coops. Give your girls a natural break, during the fall and molting time. Some hens can end up being candidates for hormone implants to stop them from laying. That's something to check in with your vet about.
Right. So anytime that you can give them a break, it may prolong their life a little bit. A lot of times we hear people even after 2 years having some health issues.
Yeah.
So do everything you can to help them live a longer life.
But, they're hybrids. They lay great, but they're good at other things that chickens are good at. Gardening, absolutely. Regenerative ag, permaculture, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
They're nice companion birds if you're looking for a laid back bird to keep with your heritage birds.
Yeah, they're great.
And they're wonderful companions for people.
Okay, so if you have the Golden Comet, not Haley's Comet, give us a story on your Instagram. Hit the mention button, type our name in, and then we can reshare it. We'd love to see your birds.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit MetzerFarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection. Roosty's proudly sponsors Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. They're back with an innovative new product. You're going to want to check this out.
It's an extra large set, a 14-pound feeder and 3-gallon water with steep anti-roost lids. They're made of super durable material. You can either stand them on legs or hang them on brackets on your coop or fence. They're easy to remove and clean too. Plus, they look awesome.
We personally use Roosties and we're huge fans. So if you're raising chicks or keeping chickens, check out the Roosty store on Amazon or follow the link in our show notes. Okay, let's move on to main topic. Yeah. Now it's a time to go across the pond and have coffee with Fiona. Yeah. Okay, so it's about that time that we welcome Fiona back to our roundtable.
Applause, please.
Yes.
Come on, applause, please.
For our roundtable of the month. And this month, we're going to see how Fiona's doing, but this month we're going to talk integration when we get into it. But before that, Fiona, how are things going over there?
Well, I thought I'd thrown you off your game there by being kind of an overinflated ego, but, I'm only joking.
No, we just went with it. We went with it, man.
No, everything's good. It's a bit sad this time of year in some ways because it's really happy and it's really sad as well because the young pullets are all going. They're, going to new homes. And I have to say, we subtly vet new owners. So we know the people that the chickens are going to, know what they're doing, understand, have the right equipment and are ready for them. So it's happy in that way because we know they're going to good places with nice people. But it's sad to see them go. When you have that, you've got all of those tiny chicks and youngsters running towards you in summer and there's loads of them. It's wonderful. And then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But to be fair, it means I would get to have that really personal relationship again with the core group of hens we're left with at the end. And I've got new breeding cockerels to choose from.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So, Flamingos had a clutch and Gannets had a clutch. So we've got a few little cockerels to have a look at and choose from. And they are again, it's clutch. Oh my goodness. From day one, she had them eating out of my hand now in the morning when I go out, because they're too small not for me to have the feeders out in, open during the day.
Yeah,
so
right.
I have to manually open the coop and make sure the feeders are ready for them before they come out, because otherwise they could get hurt. And they all run out, and then they follow me until they get some whole wheat grains. And they will not leave me alone until they get whole wheat grains. In fact, I had one the other day, sat on my Crocs and walked about 5 or 6 steps with me on one of my feet.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. They want that stuff. It's good stuff, man.
That's adorable.
It's amazing. I love them. They are so wonderful. But Flamingo's got some good ones in there as well, and it's going to be difficult to select this year.
I am thoroughly enjoying looking at your Exchequer Leghorns. They're so beautiful.
Oh, they're lovely, aren't they? Domino and Panda. They are, I'm certainly going to have them again. I love them.
Yeah.
They are so full of personality, but they're actually really gentle with the chicks as well. I did wonder how they would be, because they're a breed that we hadn't had before.
Yeah.
And because they are so full of beans, I didn't know how they would cope with the chicks, but they have been absolutely brilliant. A little bit curious, but they've cared for them. I've seen them feed them actually on occasion, which has been great.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they've let the chicks, when I've given them berries like blackberries or raspberries, they've quite happily let the chicks reach up and take bits of raspberry out their beaks.
Oh my God, that's so cute. I just think it proves the thing that we've been saying for years, and that is hand-raised Leghorns are a whole different ballgame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're just wonderful birds. My silvers are still a little flighty, although they're used to being handled now. Giorgio Armani when you pick him up, he just kind of goes
I
limp in your
love
arms.
the name. The name is just great.
But I will say that my star is the brown Leghorn, who's Donatella Versace. And she is this long-legged, just gloriously beautiful brown and golden chicken. She's so stunning.
I've really got to look her up on social media and see if I can find her on there. Is she on there?
Pictures. Holly's got to give me pictures of her.
I'll make sure there are pictures up there before this episode drops. Anyway.
Yes, please.
Okay. So speaking of the babies and everything else, let's go into integration and how you would do it, Fiona, with a broody mom, because I see a lot of people hatching eggs with broody moms on social media. We get a lot of questions about this. How do you go about doing this?
Well, I do it different to the way a lot of people do it. I think there is a big fear factor out there that you've got little chicks in with big chickens. But the difference is if you've got a broody hen and you have lots of space, and that's the key, it's space, that it's actually a fairly easy process, because the broody hen, she makes sure that the chicks are safe. Now, that's not about her defending the chicks. She's also educating the rest of the flock. So, for example, if we have a clutch who have been hatched, say, 8, 10, 12 weeks before, so those are youngsters which are a little bit bigger, but they're not adults yet, so they don't know the rules. And a broody hen then has another clutch, and they've got tiny, tiny chicks. Those youngsters will come along and have a look. Now, broody hen will just basically stand between the youngster and the chick if she senses any problems at all, and she'll educate those youngsters. But we find with Orpingtons, and this is specific to our Orpingtons, that it's all very calm. There is a little bit of gesturing, there's a bit of lunging towards, there is rarely any physical contact. So what we do is we have run on the coop where the chicken is hatching. She has a coop all to herself. She then has between 24 to 48 hours after the hatch for the chicks to basically gather their strength after coming out the eggs. You know how tiring that is.
Yeah.
And then once we're happy that they can run and they can keep up with mum, the run comes away. But we spend the first day really watching them and making sure that there are no problems. And if you get through the first day without any confrontations or any issues, which, to be honest, I don't remember the last time we ever had any problems. We kind of just let them do their own thing, and we go back to doing what we would do normally. But I don't take that for granted. Even though we've not had any problems for years, I haven't stopped doing it because every hen is different,
Right.
and every breed is different.
Yep.
And I just want to be certain. But the broody hen that did mention about space, because the broody hen, what I've noticed is she tends to keep the chicks not from the centre of the flock for the first few weeks. She kind of moves around the outside a little bit. But what I've noticed this year is that our broody hens within 7 days are bringing those chicks into the melee when it's treat time.
Okay.
So they are right in the centre, and we have had no issues at all. In fact, we've had some of the non-broody hens feeding the chicks and be happy to feed the chicks as well.
Nice.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's so
Everyone's
cute.
confident in doing what they need to do.
Now, you were talking with us before we started recording about taking in chicks too with a brooder plate when it's really warm and giving exposure to them as early as you can, which works for you. And you've seen that other people are doing this. So can you explain it a little bit more?
Yeah, we do have, once in a blue moon, we have a broody hen who breaks during the incubation process. So we will take those eggs in and we will hatch them in an incubator. And what we'll do is those chicks will stay inside, basically to keep them warm. So they'll be under a brooder plate in a brooder. But if the temperatures are warm enough, we will take them out. Now, normally, because we are dealing with the time periods where a broody hen would be involved. Now, broody hens, most people start incubating in January in the UK anyway.
Yeah.
But broody hens won't start to fall broody until May. So you're not looking for those eggs to hatch till June. So your temperatures are much, much warmer outside. So you're looking at nighttime temperatures of about 18, 19 degrees Celsius, daytime temperatures of 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. So you do the calculations for me, please, Holly.
Okay. 18.
So the key is that they're separated still. These are the incubated ones. And they have the brooder plate with them, but they're together. So they have a
so we set them up outside in a coop. And actually it's a makeshift coop, which we borrowed from a friend. And what they are, it's an old engine case, an old engine crate. And we put two side by side. One has got a brooder plate in, and one doesn't. Now, our brooder plate essentially fits the entire floor space of the engine crate that it goes in. So when the chicks no longer need the heat, it's obvious because they sleep in the other engine crate.
Yeah.
And they've got the choice to go back and forth, but they have a run in front of that so they can't get out and no other flock members can get in. But what we find is the flocks sleep around, during the day in the shade around the outside of this run, and they're quite happy to be where the chicks are. And then roughly at about 10 weeks, we will let those chicks out. We will experiment with opening the door during the day. And if it goes well for the first few days, we then take the run away. But we've not had a situation yet where we haven't been able to take the run away and keep it away because the flock have seen the babies. They don't see them as a threat. They already see them as part of the flock. And because of the space we've got, the youngsters could get away anyway if one of the older ones wants to teach them a little bit more about the pecking order, shall we say. But for us, teaching the pecking order isn't pecking. It is simply lunging in their direction. That's as far as it goes.
Right.
I'm much more gentle, no ripping combs off, things like that.
Right.
18 degrees Celsius is about 65 degrees Fahrenheit here. So you're talking about much warmer temperatures than a lot of the US in, say, March and April.
Right. Definitely.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so that would be our temperatures in June about that time period. But as I say, we're still putting them out with the brooder plate, but in such a way that the youngsters have got the choice. So when they grow to a point where they don't need it, they'll just go to the other engine crate.
Yeah,
right.
They can decide
neither is ever shut off. So they're not,
they go where they want.
Stopping them go. Absolutely. So if they need that heat in the middle of the night, they can just go back.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to talk about kind of how we do integration because it is a little different here in the US. There's different scenarios. We don't have a broody mom. We're getting 1-day-old chicks that are being shipped to us. So we start off with the brooder and keeping them in there and separate from the flock for a length of time.
Right.
Then they go out for playtime. And at that point, as long as it's warm enough, you can set them up and be with them while they're seeing the flock that they're going to go in.
Right.
So I'm with Fiona is the flock sees them as much as possible before they're together is really a good thing.
So actually the daytime scenario is exactly the same, isn't it?
Right.
It's the nighttime scenario, which is just different.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think that we have like 3 core things in common. And I think you're going to find this in all the good integration plans. Slow getting used to each other. So seeing each other, being around each other, plenty of space. You have got to have plenty of space and letting them get older, letting them get some size before they're totally
let go together before you put them in together. Because if they're not comparable in size, there have been hens that kill the chicks or the pullets. So it's getting to that point where you can then put them together and making that part as easy for you as you can. It's all the steps up to that point that make it work.
Yeah.
So Holly and I, we're pretty like old ladies slow when it comes to integration. We don't even think about doing the separation in the run until they're about 12 to 16 weeks at that point.
This is where I differ.
Yeah.
Because I do it earlier. Now, the only reason I can do that is because my group are used to broody hens, and broody hens will make their chicks independent roughly between 6 to 8 weeks old. So at 8 weeks or even at 6 weeks, they are completely independent and don't have a broody hen looking after them anyway.
Right.
So our adults are used to youngsters being in and around the flock, and the youngsters understand the flock dynamics too. And actually what I find is even those which are in that run separate because they don't have a broody hen, they're observing the broody hens, and the youngsters with those broody hens are teaching those you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
It's all the flock dynamic. Once you have the flock dynamic in place, then it's easier to work around.
Right. And never underestimate the value of that broody hen to pave that path.
The broody hen is key.
If you are coming in with chicks out of a brooder with no broody hen, you are going to have to approach this differently.
And that's because they don't have a mentor taking them in. They're just going in on their own at that point. So there does need to be a comparable in size.
Your wonderful analogy is that if somebody shows up on your porch with a suitcase and says, "Hey, I'm moving in," that's not going to go well.
No.
Yeah.
But if your Aunt Julie shows up on your porch with somebody with a suitcase and says, "Hey, this is so-and-so. Can we stay with you for a little while?" You can get used to that. You can ease that in.
Right.
Yeah. And the space thing as well, I think it's important to just expand on that a little bit, because obviously in the US, you have far more predators than we have here. So you cannot provide the same kind of space.
Right.
For a run that I can in a free range area for the chickens. So when I say we have space, I'm looking at over a third of an acre for a few chickens.
Right.
And not a lot of chickens.
You're talking about a lot different in size and space. And that's why we always say build the run as big as you can.
Absolutely.
So that you will give this space, because you're going to want to add chicks to your flock, and this will make it easier.
Right.
If you can, I've done this before where I actually separate the run and give them their own part of the run. And then they stay out there during the day. They come in and sleep in the brooder at night. That works well. That if you have that petition up, then at some point after a few weeks, you take it up. They know each other. They know each other.
They do. We have integration pens, big pens built into both of our big runs, and it works the same way. We're carrying pullets out. They spend the day out there. They're old enough to be out, but they're not big enough for the rest of the hens to have free access. But we did it this year with a rooster in the mix, and I've never done it this way. It still worked exactly the same, nice and smooth.
The other thing is
you can improvise those pens as well, can't you? Because you can buy those dog play pens with roofs on that you can take those out and
the pop-ups
in the middle of the pen. Yeah, you can
I do that. Yeah.
There are lots of ways to do it,
doesn't it? Yeah.
Now, the last thing you want to do is have them all sleeping together unsupervised at night in the coop, because you can't be out there all night making sure that someone's not getting attacked or they're not fighting. So even after they're together for a day or two during the day, I still wait a day or two to let them sleep together in the coop. That's the last final thing I do.
Right.
And then I mean, that's not a restful night's sleep that first night. I'm running out there in the morning to make sure everybody's good.
I set the alarm for sunup and I'm out there.
Exactly.
We literally just integrated this year's chicks this past Friday.
I didn't have to integrate,
but there were some scuffles, just a couple, because Isabella the Andalusian believes that she's kind of a rooster. So she was attacking Giorgio Armani. They got over that. So the first night I put them in there was Friday night. I came out Saturday morning. I let them out. Everything was going well until, and he brought this on himself. Giorgio Armani lost his mind. He was like, there are 16 girls in this run with me. And he was trying to get on everybody, and that did not go well.
Poor dog from like 4 weeks old. I don't know what his guy did to him.
Well, he could not, that's too many ladies. And so long story short, he ended up hurting his ankle and I had to take him to Dr. Rebecca. And now he's on anti-inflammatories for a soft tissue injury. Because
got a little overzealous, man.
He's like, essentially, we said he's like testosterone with feathers.
Mine's the other way, which I'm great with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that little snafu, this is what we usually do, and it worked very smoothly.
So the other thing we do want to mention with just a little bit of time that we have left is integrating rescues into an existing flock, because this is a whole different process. Because a lot of times, and we get a lot of questions about this, a lot of times rescues are adults. So you're integrating adults into adults. And this, you really got to take slow.
And this is the most common scenario in the UK as well, even not just for rescues. It is because most people don't buy day-old chicks. The majority of purchases in the UK are point of lay. So you're buying adults essentially.
So the best case scenario is that you have at least 2 birds to be integrated. It is difficult to integrate a single bird.
We don't even recommend
into an existing flock.
We don't sell in multiples of less than 2 for this reason, because we absolutely, well, first of all, we say if you've got no chickens, they are flock birds, so we won't sell less than 2. If you're integrating into the existing flock, 1 chicken won't integrate, so we don't sell singles ever.
Yeah.
And we had questions about this while we were at McMurray Fest, actually.
Right.
We helped a couple and they were having those exact problems trying to integrate 1 chicken in. It's near impossible. I'm not going to say impossible. You can do it.
You can, but you need to invest a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot. So that's the number 1 rule. Always have 2. The second thing is always, because it's easier to think that they have mites and lice, always think that they have that. So check them over and make sure that they don't, because rescues are more, I don't want to say it, but sometimes they're coming from areas where they weren't getting the best care. That's why you're rescuing them.
Right.
I always recommend quarantine if you can.
Absolutely. Quarantine is your best bet. 2 weeks at a minimum.
6 weeks is the best.
Is the best if you can do it. Actually, I used to do 60 days, but.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks to 6 weeks, they should be nowhere near each other. For many reasons.
You can figure out ways to do it. I mean, you don't have to have some kind of fancy, quarantine setup. Just figure out a way to do it. A crate that's on the other side of your place, or
in your garage, a pop-up, someplace where you can just keep them confined to make sure, 1, that after a few days, they're not going to show any upper respiratory infections. And 2, they don't have mites or lice, because those things are highly transmittable to all of your flock and they can kill your flock. So you want to make sure
they're very, very likely within commercial poultry flocks as well, unfortunately, because of the way that they're kept.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And parasites, intestinal parasites also.
If you need help, I mean, we recommend if you bring a rescue home or any new chicken, you give them the 10-point checkup. We do have an episode for that. It's really helpful to know how to do that. The quarantine again. So let's say you've had your birds. Let's say you have 3 adult girls. You've had them out for 6 weeks. You've treated them for lice and mites. They look good. You're ready.
You gave them a dewormer.
They're ready to go in. What do you do?
You're still going to separate
Still the
them.
same thing. Yes.
Now you're going to revert back to the chick integration.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be giving them a divided space. Again, they're showing up with their suitcases. They're saying, hey, let's get to know each other. And then you got to go through that whole process after. So we're not saying don't rescue. Please do. But it's a process.
Smart. And I think that one thing you can do a little differently with adults who are being integrated is you can free range them together.
Yes.
Your free range babies with adult hens, that's where you have risks of injuries to those babies.
If you watch them, if you're supervised, you can do it. It's part of my integration. I always free range them together.
Not when they're teeny tiny. You do it when they're bigger.
No, I do it when they're bigger. Right. That's for sure.
But with if you're bringing in, say, 3 adult hens, you can free range them. And sometimes if you have a rooster, that helps too, because he may be like, scoot over, girls. I got 3 more ladies coming in.
Well, they tend to break up the fights between the hens.
Some of them.
Or if you have a mama hen, like my June, she does that too.
Right.
So it's the way, it's just a process. And here's the last thing I want to say is be patient with yourself in all of this.
Yeah.
It takes time.
I mean,
it does.
There is an option which isn't as great that you can do that which does work, because we have to integrate. So for example, at the moment, we have got some young pullets for this year that we are bringing forward into the breeding flock, and we are going to be moving them into the main coop. Now, even though they're free ranging during the day and they're part of the flock, it's a whole other ball game when you need to get them to sleep in the same coop.
Exactly.
Right.
So we have a technique there, and this can work for someone who, for whatever reason, has no other option, cannot have that separation, can't provide a second coop, but it does mean that they have to be watched very, very closely. So the first night, what we will do is we will pick them out when they're all asleep. So both coops are asleep. We'll pick them out and put them into the coop. Now, at this point, we have a coop cam in the coop with a motion sensor. So it will tell me if something happens in the night, so I can go straight out. I've never had that. They're all fast asleep until the morning. It's dawn. And I have the alarm set, like you, for dawn, go running out, make sure everything's okay, let them out. Now, at that point, they're okay during the day for us. Now, for other people who are doing completely different chickens who don't know each other, I say to them, make sure that you've got lots of things for the chicks, for the chickens to hide, get away from each other. There's multiple feeders, multiple drinkers, so that's not a problem.
And adding more is always good.
Yeah, and lots of room for them as well. But you must have physical barriers to break up the sight lines. What we then do the second night is we actually close the coop down. And 9 times out of 10, those youngsters will want to try and sleep outside the door of their old coop.
Yeah.
Then we kind of herd them to the other coop, and we get them to actually physically walk up the ramp themselves. So they have to go under their own steam inside, by which time the other hens are fast asleep inside. So we still don't have a problem.
Exactly.
It's night 3 when they go under their own steam, possibly with a little bit of encouragement, when they go and the other hens are awake, and then you find that they're guarding the door. And it's just being gentle with them and just being persistent. But having that coop cam, having the motion sensor, having that app on your phone that you can keep checking. And I have to say, if you're going to do that, you've got at least a week of getting up at dawn to make sure there are no problems.
Absolutely.
It's a good option.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. But if you do it right, it can work.
And if you have no other option, it gives you one.
Exactly. Just, I don't know, Fiona, have you ever tried this? You know how when you get a new dog, they say, introduce new dog to old dog or neutral territory? Have you ever tried putting all the chickens, old and new, in like a new coop and run?
No, we haven't actually, but that's because we very specifically have a coop which is away from, we have very few neighbours, it has to be said.
Okay.
But we do have 2 who are within earshot. So if there's any trouble, we have some very light sleepers in one of the houses. So we're trying to be good for them. So we have got one coop as far away. So that is where the adults actually sleep. Because if there's any noise, our light sleeping neighbours are not going to hear it. So we're trying to be good with them. But I suppose we could move another coop into that area.
Just curious. I mean, it's an experiment we haven't tried, but just curious. If anyone else has tried it, give us a yell. Maybe it will be something that people can.
Yeah, I think the pecking order would still come into play about, the older, more senior hens guarding the coop as being theirs. But it might make things easier.
Now, I feel like we've touched base on all the different scenarios, but if you listen to this and you still have trouble, you can email us, you can direct message us your questions, and we have no problems answering them for you and trying to help you as much as possible. Fiona, we want to thank you one more time for joining our roundtable this month. what would it be without a month without a roundtable with Fiona?
I wouldn't miss it. I love it. I really do.
And don't forget to go check out Fiona's videos on YouTube, English Country Life. Fiona, we will talk to you next month.
Until next month. We'll talk to you later.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
We just want to thank Fiona one more time for a really fun conversation. Lots of good tips in there every year for our integration episode.
Okay, so let's move on to
Cracking the eggs.
cracking those eggs. Now we're sticking with apple.
It's all about the apples, man.
It's all about September being apple month. And this week's recipe is the white bean apple burger with thyme and sage, because thyme and sage go with apple really well.
They do, and the beans too. And I got to tell you, this burger tastes and smells like fall.
Yeah.
Smells
definitely.
so good. It's pretty straightforward. This is my recipe, and I love them every time I make them.
So let's go into the ingredients. We're going to use 1 can of white beans of your choice, rinsed and drained. 1 large apple. Holly used ginger gold with hers, but you can use any apple of your choice. 1 cup of quick cooking oats, an egg, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of thinly sliced fresh sage or a half a teaspoon of dry, 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme leaves or a half a teaspoon of dry, and salt and pepper.
You're going to grab a big skillet, a big mixing bowl, and a potato masher or a pastry blender. You're going to wash your apple and cut it into small chunks. No need to peel unless you want to. I don't bother.
The best part's the fiber is the on the peel.
Oh, yeah. Now, in the mixing bowl, you're going to put those apple chunks, the beans, and the oats. Grab your potato masher or pastry blender and just mash it all together really well.
Right.
Add the herbs, the egg, the salt and pepper, and mix it really well with a spoon until it's pretty homogeneous. I mean, it's going to be chunky,
Right.
but really good. Put that in the fridge for about 30 minutes to let it absorb some moisture and firm up. You want to either oil or spray your skillet, place it over low to medium heat. Now, this is where you can be sloppy and it's fine, or you can get really meticulous and it's fine.
Right.
Grab a large spoon, a ladle, or use your hands. You're going to scoop out about a half of a cup of the bean mixture. Form it into a burger-shaped patty in your hands and pat to desired thickness. Now, you can be really loosey-goosey with that, or you can keep your hands a little wet, and it helps you make the patty really uniform.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to do. If you want to make it pretty, if you just want to slop it in there, it works too. I've done both ways. Cook those burgers until they're brown on each side, flipping halfway through.
Right.
Like 3 or 4 minutes. And you're going to serve them as desired. I serve them the way you would serve a regular burger.
Now, you can also bake these in the oven at 400 for about 20 minutes, which is, if you don't have the time to stand there,
Right.
just put them in there, and then you also want to flip them halfway through.
Yep, it works either way. These are actually very, very, they're surprisingly delicious. I know the flavors sound weird.
Yeah.
Very easy to make, and yeah.
Sounds delicious. So try it. You might like it. Let us know what you think. Okay, so let's move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah. This week's retail therapy, we are reviewing a new product by Grubbly Farms because we love Grubbly Farms. They're an awesome company. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming out with a brand new, it's out now, their AllFlock.
Right. And they sent over a bag for us to try. Now,
Yes.
I let you, because you have a rooster.
Yeah.
So I let you try the AllFlock. So you get to tell us what
I
you
tried it for everyone, and everyone loves it. They're eating it like crazy,
Mhm.
and it smells delicious for them.
think. Yeah.
They like it. What more can you say? If they're eating it, they're doing well on it.
And what form is it?
It is a crumble.
It's a crumble.
So we all know it's my favorite form of food for chickens
Right.
and geese and ducks.
Well, that's very appropriate for tiny bantams too.
yeah, so it's great. Now, the other thing is the bag is super cute. You're going to love the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bag has a duck, it has a chicken, it has a goose on it.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go over a little bit about the food itself. It's an 18% protein, so it's not crazy high.
No, that's still that sweet spot.
Right. And the food itself, I mean, you can't go wrong with this. It's made with the black soldier fly grubs,
Right.
of course. It's got lots of good stuff. Whole grains, flax seeds, sunflower hearts, green peas, essential vitamins, minerals, and probiotics.
All good stuff for molting birds too.
Really good. It doesn't have all the funky stuff, like the fillers and all that stuff in this food.
I didn't know where you were going with funky stuff.
All the funky The funky stuff. So, yeah, it's awesome. So, this food as an AllFlock, it's formulated to feed your chickens, your ducks, your geese, your turkeys, and your pheasants.
Mm-hmm. So, if you are literally running a flock with different species,
right,
it's appropriate.
And you can start this from 8 weeks old up. So, it's really an amazing food. They did really love it. They finished the food bowls with it in there. They really did like it. Now, they also recommend, when we always too, when you're feeding a mixed flock, you do need to, supply the grit and the calcium in separate places.
And if you're doing waterfowl, I'd put some brewer's yeast in there too.
Exactly.
Now, my final question. Have you made this into a mash, and how did they like it?
I did not yet.
Oh, okay.
So
that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
I bet they'll love it.
And we were talking about this earlier, that the hens like it. And we were saying that the hens are the pickiest.
Well, right. I feel like if you have your hens on a layer that they really like, and you can put something else in there and they eat it, then you're doing okay.
Yeah. And I like the fact that it's an AllFlock, but it still has probiotics and good stuff in there.
Right.
So if you want to try it, check out Grubbly Farms, and you can get it right on their website.
That's a nice addition to their feed lineup.
It's really nice.
Thank you for sending that over to us, Grubbly folks.
It was amazing. They loved it. Okay. So should we now tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week is our 200th episode.
We need a thing that goes off. Yeah.
We are spotlighting the gorgeous and critically endangered Emden goose.
We're giving the geese our 200th episode because
some goosey love.
You have geese now.
Our main topic, Lisa Steele is joining us. We haven't talked to Lisa in a while, and we are talking all about goose care.
So if you plan on getting those geese, you want to hear from her.
Cracking the eggs, we're sticking with apples. We've got some delicious baked apple pudding.
Sounds good.
And on this 200th episode, for Retail Therapy, we are reviewing the fantastic new Omelette Pro Coupe.
My little man loves his. Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens
every day and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. Thanks for listening.